The trap bar deadlift is a great variation for athletes and adults alike, and we want to explain exactly why. A lot of people are like, well, what's the difference between a regular deadlift, or why do you choose this variation with your athletes? And really one of the main reasons is because it is a low barrier of entry. It's very easy to learn. And two, it's gonna take a little bit of stress off the low back compared to your conventional deadlift. And the reasons why is because with a conventional deadlift, that bar obviously has to stay on the front part of our body. And without really great form, that can put a lot of shear stress on our low back. And the trap bar kind of helps with that problem. The reason is because we can obviously step into the bar. The center of the mass of the bar stays right in line with the center of our feet and the center of mass of our body. And for athletics, that might be a little bit more applicable, or for anyone dealing with, low back stress, or someone who just really isn't that experienced with deadlifting or fitness in general, it's a great option to introduce a heavier hinge variation. And that's why we love it so much for our athletes and for our adults. So I'll have Aaron give a demo here of a perfect trap bar deadlift. So here he's gonna grab right in the middle of those handles. He's gonna pull himself down into that bar and then stand up nice and tall at the top. So a few common mistakes we see with this variation. One, I see people set up with their feet far too wide. I think that's a common mistake. And one of the biggest things I do to kind of help that is I tell people, look, if you were gonna go and jump up for a ball, you were rebounding a ball, you would not step into that wide position. Immediately, if you kind of go up and think about going into that vertical jump, your most powerful position is with your feet right underneath those hips. So we want to utilize that same position when we're doing this deadlift. Another thing that I see people do is not get tension or not get any, pull the slack out of the bar. So their back will immediately round and they're kind of trying to jerk that bar off the ground. So we call this pulling the slack out of the bar. And what we want to look for here is a really nice tight back, pulling their body into that great position. When he's in the bottom of that deadlift position, he should be in a straight line from his shoulder through his arms. So the second he pulls or pushes with his legs, that bar is coming straight up and not swaying back and forth and putting unnecessary stress on the low back. One cue we really like to pull the slack out of the bar is show the logo or wedge yourself into the bar. So as Aaron grips that bar, I'm gonna tell him, hey, somebody's standing right in front of you, show your logo to that person in front of you, and that'll kind of make him squeeze those shoulders back, get that lat tension and that lat tightness that we want. And then we also wanna make sure the athlete isn't thinking about pulling the bar, but more thinking about pushing the ground away from them. So show the logo, push the ground away, stand up nice and tall. So I'll have Aaron give a demo of the deadlift. And at the top, we see one of two things. Either people not finishing with their hips or arching that back at the top. So a cue I really love for this, for the issue of arching our back at the top, is finish with your belt buckle, not your belly button. So keep your tummy nice and tucked, belly button in, but finish with that belt buckle through. And then the thing at the top, if they're not finishing with their hips, it's really easy to say hips through, or honestly, one of the best cues is to come behind them. Obviously, be a little careful who you're working with, but you come behind them, tap on the glutes. The second you punch or tap on somebody somewhere, they're gonna flex in that position. If we want their glutes to turn on, it's very easy to give them a tap, give them a little bit of feedback so that they'll actually finish with those hips. Do one bad rep. You're gonna hear that click off the ground. When you have a really great rep, it's gonna be silent off the floor. So that's how you know you're creating tension, really pulling the slack out of the bar, and you're gonna put a lot less stress on your elbows, your shoulders, and your back if you do a great job of doing that. So thanks for watching the video on the trap bar deadlift. When you're programming for the trap bar deadlift, you probably want to use it at the front end of your workout as one of your main strength movements. And here you can go anywhere from 3 to maybe even 6 sets, but keep the reps fairly low. We probably don't want to go over 6 here, and keep big rests between your sets so that we're using this exercise as a strength movement.